small businesses rather than large corporations has a significantly positive impact on America's economy and modern day America. So I'm going to start off with just plotting some of my 3 points. So the first one is that small businesses propose better employment opportunities in corporations. Number 2, small businesses create more economical growth and new innovations than corporations. And third, small businesses adhere to the needs of customers with more care than corporations. So we're going to start out by just defining what small business is and a corporate business. And according to the SBA, a small business is one that is independently owned and operated and exerts little force on its industry and has fewer than 500 employees. And a corporate business, also according to the SBA, is defined as an independent legal entity owned by shareholders. So going to the first point, which is a small business proposes a better employment opportunity than corporations, is that first, a small business supplies very visible success for employees. Unless you work near the top, in accomplishing like very amazing things, no one will ever, really notice you. And your accomplishments won't go to the CEO. Whereas in a small business, whatever you're doing, everyone is able to see it and recognize you for the impact you're making. A small business is agile, so you can speak directly to your upper management, to your bosses, and just give input on your ideas and just inserting your voice. Where it might take days and weeks for your submission to get approved at a large business. And then a small business gives opportunity for a variety of responsibilities. At a large company, sure, you can switch your job and still keep your position, but you're working in a different area, whereas in a small company, you're still sitting at your desk and you're doing all these different things, so it gives more of your responsibility just like doing what you're doing. For example, I work at a small business at a chiropractic office, and all of my problems and everything that I do, I can just go to my boss, and he owns his office, so he can just give me his input right there, then and there, and he makes changes or he doesn't, and it's all done right there. Whereas if I was working at a huge hospital, I would probably have to schedule an appointment or do something to talk to my boss. So that was my first point, which is a small business proposes better employment opportunity. My second one is that a small business creates more economical growth than with new innovations than corporate businesses. And as stated by Kelly Edmonston, she works at a federal bank reserve. In her book, Role of Small and Large Businesses, she says that a small business lacks entrenched bureaucracy, so a large business is so huge that nothing will, new innovations don't get through, whereas in a small business, everything is so compact that knowledge is able to be shared. She also says that small business has more competitive markets, and according to Forbes, approximately 5,403 new businesses get started each month, and generating 65% of the new jobs since 1995, and over 50% of the working populations work in small businesses. And lastly, she states that a small business gives stronger incentives, so personal rewards, getting recognized by people, building relationships, and getting to learn more of the business. My third point tonight is that small businesses adhere to the needs of their customers more than corporations, and so small businesses control their pricing, whereas large businesses can't. And customer service is more personalized and hands-on, and local businesses are more likely to give back to the community. Small businesses deliver the community like a character and economic advantage by strengthening their partnerships with their neighbors, residents, and other small business owners. Whereas, sure, large businesses can give back, but it's not as tightly knit as a small business would be. So just to summarize, my main point was supporting small businesses rather than large corporations has a significant positive impact on America's economy and the modern day American. And my 3 points were that small businesses have economic employment opportunities, economic growth with innovations, and they adhere to customers. Thank you.
All right, well, the proposition's a little complicated and convoluted, but generally it's a comparison between small and large businesses. I'm not sure why they have to be mutually exclusive or why selecting one over the other is important. I think you need to give us a little bit more explanation about that sort of justification for the argument. But the secondary claims are all phrased as clear declarative claims, and they always make a point to do the contrast that you're supposed to be setting up, so I appreciated that. Internal signposting was very solid. You usually do a good job explaining concepts on each of your points. Now, when it comes to support on those points, on the first point, you have basically no evidence that you cite except hypotheticals until you get to your own personal example, which I think is a good example, but it's awfully hard to be able to generalize from a singular example like that. This would have been a good place to maybe have some of that evidence that you had on the second point, talking about entrenched bureaucracies and that sort of thing. I think that might have fit better with that particular argument. The second point is the only one where you have really specific evidence, and I thought you had 2 or 3 good quotes and a couple of statistics there to demonstrate the importance when it comes to the economy of small businesses. The long-term success of small businesses is one of the things that I don't think has been discussed, and that might be a place where the refutation speaker is going to be focusing some attention. The third point basically is all asserted. There's no evidence that suggests that pricing is more competitive with small businesses or the customer service is superior in some way to small businesses, or even the thing about the community needs. You've got an explanation and a reason why you believe that these things are true, but the proof on it is a little thin. Not a little thin, it's a lot thin. So it needs a lot more information to support those conclusions. All right, thank you.